Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 179. I am Mox Born Again. I have with me, it's my angel.
Hello.
Hello. What's going on?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. So it turns out you got to pay your bill to get internet.
Go figure.
I could have sworn our AT&T internet bill was set up for auto pay, and turns out, hey, it's really not.
No.
So they were very polite in saying when we opened up Twitch, Facebook worked just fine. But I think that was just because of like cookies and all that crap. But yeah, I try to go to Twitch. I'm like, oh, we can't go to Twitch. Why can't we do the things we want to do right now? I don't want a Facebook right now. I want to do Twitch.
Because they want their monies.
They want their monies, and they got their monies. That's one way to get your monies, is to take away the things people want. So now it's set up for automatic pay, and now we should be uninterrupted. So we're a little late to the party, but sorry about that, guys. So yeah, we're here to talk about some Walking Dead. What else do you want to talk about?
Once upon a time.
Oh yeah, Once Upon a Time. And we're going to review Halo 5 multiplayer only.
I was going to say, I still haven't played much Halo 5 at all. You can do most talking on that one.
Okay.
I don't think I haven't played enough games to even get ranked yet in the multiplayer. So.
Okay. So how about we just start off with Walking Dead?
Okay.
How about that? So this past episode.
Spoilers abundantly. So.
Oh yeah, if you haven't watched the
listen.
recent Walking Dead and you're interested in it, then we're gonna spoil the shit out of it. So you should probably tune out for the next half hour or so. It was a good episode. Finally got a group. We got everybody. We got to see a little bit of everybody. It wasn't just the B squad and the A squad, or it was you got to see a little bit of everybody. We still don't know where. What's the redhead dude? I can never remember his name.
Abraham.
I keep wanting to call him Andrews.
Yeah, we didn't get any of Abraham, Sasha, or Daryl this episode.
Or Glenn. Glenn's
Wow.
dead corpse. Well, we did get a little bit of Glenn. Maybe just
With
one
a little bombshell there. Dropped
one
by
little
Maggie.
sperm floater.
That sounds disgusting. That's really not a nice way to put that, but
No.
ugh, yuck. Okay.
So Maggie's pregnant, and she's pretty much come to terms with, well, if Glenn was out there, he would notify me by now. I think she's pretty much, I don't want to say she's given up, but I think she's at peace with, he's out there, and you know, I need to protect my baby. You think? I don't think she's going after him.
No, she's not going after him, even though she tried to at the beginning of the episode. But I don't think she's necessarily at peace with anything. It's very hard to. I think his particular demise, if that is the case, is particularly hard because there's nobody to report it. Obviously, Michonne was able to say the last time we saw him, this is what was going to go down. It didn't happen, so more than likely he's fallen. But it's still hard to not have some kind of definitive answer as to what happened to him. That said, I don't know if you've seen any articles regarding the most recent casting.
No.
Okay, so it's official that they have cast the role of Negan. Yeah.
Oh, Glenn is totally dead. Just dead. Dead.
Why would you say that?
Isn't he the one that kills
He is the one that kills him. I don't think I don't think Glenn's dead yet.
Well, right. I think I don't think he's dead either. I really don't. I really wish they would have killed him off, because this is kind of bullshit.
I wouldn't say that, but I do know that in the previews for the next episode, they do show, something's happened with Daryl. He's no longer in front of Sasha and Abraham leading the pack anymore. Something has happened to him. We know from an early preview for this season, a scene that we have not yet seen that had Daryl with a gun to his head and tied up. And I could only guess that would be we initially were saying the Wolf Clan, but it could be Negan's group, since they have cast him, and we are seeing that he's going to be coming probably the end of this season, beginning of next season. My guess would be Daryl and Glenn both get captured by the same group, which would belong to Negan.
Separately, I think. I think it would be interesting if they're
Daryl
separate.
gets. Well, I honestly think that they may come together. Negan kills Glenn as he does in the comics. If you don't know, I'm sorry to spoil that. But then lets Daryl go to report to the others what occurred, and there will be Maggie's closure.
So you think you think Glenn's gonna die, or Glenn's?
I think Glenn will die at the hands of Negan, like he does in the comics. Daryl will be there because he will also be captured.
And he's the one that kind of breaks the news.
He will get ahead, and he will get away, whether he's let go. Because I think in the comics, if I remember correctly, I've not read the comics myself, but I've kind of read up on them a little bit. There is somebody who was let go to kind of give report to the people of Alexandria of Negan and what he wants, basically, and what he's done. So I think Daryl's going to fulfill that role, going back and telling the people of Alexandria, hey, there's this guy, he's killed Glenn, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is what he wants from us, kind of a deal.
I can see that.
But the person who is playing Negan is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I myself have never heard of this guy.
He looks familiar.
He's on a pretty popular television show, I think also fighting zombies.
That's convenient. So he's got experience.
Yeah, he does. Let me see here. You might want to fill the silence here because it's taking
dead air. No, I can see that coming. I would like I think the cliff. I don't think we'll get closure quite that early, or Maggie won't get closure this season. I have a feeling that they'll drop the bombshell of either Glenn dying for the season finale, or Glenn again feeling like we've lost Glenn, and that'll be the end of that. And then it'll pick back up with maybe Glenn and Daryl trying to get back to Alexandria, because that could be an interesting travel as well, because they have no idea where Negan is coming. Like, they don't know where they're being taken, and they don't know location wise how to get back. And I think Daryl would be about the best person out of the entire group, except for any of the Alexandrians, to get you back to Alexandria. So, and the funny thing is that all the people that are out and about that we haven't seen, they have no clue what's going on at Alexandria. The last thing they heard was there was the horn sounding and the gunshots. Like, they have no idea that all these people just were murdered and the wolves attacking. They don't even know about the wolves at this point. So,
yeah. Okay. So this it's not a zombie. I don't know why I was just reading something having him do with zombies, but he's from the television show called The Good Wife.
Sounds familiar.
It's, I think, a pretty popular show. I haven't watched it myself yet, but that's his most recent. He's actually still currently on that show. So whether or not he will be doing both at the same time, I guess it's in its 8th season. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It seems like reaction is good as far as fans of his thinking that he would be a good Negan.
Well, one thing's for sure, the fans definitely love the comic books. So anything, I'm assuming anything that goes along line with the comic books, the fans are going to enjoy and get a positive response. So I'm hoping that this, hopefully he has a much bigger role. Like, I hope he doesn't fall into the role of like Joe, the biker group from the biker group, and like he was in like 2 or 3 episodes. I hope this is like a long-term, like the governor type of thing.
They're saying that he's going to be towards the end of the season, and then like a guest star kind of thing, and then more of like a recurring role for the next season. But Negan, in current comic books, at least as far as I'm aware of, last I read, he was still alive in the comics. So I would see him being around for the long haul, if they follow the comic.
Cool. Well, I'm interested to see where it's going. The ramp up from the previous episode is well needed. I think people are pretty, ho hum about that. But my feelings. I enjoy the low moments, because if you were if you had the dial turned to 11 all the time, you would just not feel like there would just be, you wouldn't feel for these characters. So like you need to have like that cool down time in there. So I think this is, we're kind of ramping up to because we haven't even got to a mid-season finale, correct? They're still doing all that, right?
Yes, I think there's 2 or 3 more episodes
Yeah.
until the mid-season finale, which kind of sucks because then you're always in a low point during that time because you don't know what else to do. I hate the series breaks, but
Well, you got the 1 minute episodes that are going on right now, during the commercial breaks, which is kind of neat.
Fear of the Walking Dead,
Yeah,
the plane,
the plane,
yeah,
the plane
flight,
scene.
whatever it's called.
So you have that. Fear the Walking Dead should be starting back up during the. Is
In
it
the
during?
winter.
Is it
In
the
the
winter?
summer.
Oh,
No.
summer.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
don't
it's
think
not
it's
during
till
the
next
break.
year.
That's
No.
unfortunate. Man, they need to get like a third show going. So they're just gonna be Walking Dead constantly.
That would be nice. But yeah, no, we'll be going into the mid-season break here pretty soon. Sometime this month, I think. But it's been good. I know people didn't. I know we were on last week. Actually, we didn't podcast last week to discuss last week's episode, which was the Morgan-centric episode. Talking all about basically where Morgan's been since we last saw him, crazy in the house in Atlanta or wherever it was that they were living. But we saw him go through like this really mental breakdown after the death of his son, leaving the house that he had been living in, leaving that area and going into the woods, and eventually finding Eastman. I know people weren't really happy with this episode because you had this cliffhanger of what's going on in Alexandria with the wolves and this horde of zombies, and then all of a sudden it's Morgan talking with a wolf that he'd captured, and doing this whole backstory on him. And you're like, wait a second, I really want to know what's going on in Alexandria.
A lot of people are dying, and you're talking
We
to
just
this
saw
idiot.
Glenn. Yeah, we just saw Glenn go down,
Right.
and what is this? Like, this isn't what we want. But actually, it is kind of interesting how they are structuring this season, particularly with his little mini. Well, actually, it wasn't mini. It was a 90-minute episode fully devoted to Morgan. And there's some interesting theories about why they're doing that.
I think he dies next episode. I think he's going to. That's what they did to Beth. They gave Beth her own episode, then they killed her off the very next episode.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Yeah, and that's kind
Which
of what
is
some of the
sad.
speculation is. I mean, we had to kind of know where his character had come from, where he's his full character arc. We've got caught up on him now,
I
and the
don't know.
decisions that he's making is leading to the demise of the group.
So do you know what? I'm wondering, maybe they won't kill him off. Maybe they'll just send him on his way again. Because he's always seemed to be like that, like wanderer character. He's not really like always. It doesn't seem like the character is going to stay stagnant for long. And when I think he realized, well, at least in the Talking Dead episode with the actor, I can't remember his name. Is it Leslie? Is his name? I can't remember. Anyway, he said Morgan does feel like he made the right decision, but he still feels responsible. So I think he will just say, you know what, I've done my part here. I've kind of got you guys set on your ways. I think I'm going to go ahead and go. And then that's not the end of Morgan as we know it. I mean, how long? It was like 2 or 3 seasons. Well, probably, yeah, it's like 2 or 3 seasons that we saw from the first episode all the way until like When was the first time we actually saw Morgan? It
The
was
first episode.
well, no, I mean after the break, after he left. Was it? It was in Terminus when we saw him like tracking people.
It was after they left Terminus, and when they actually just after they had left the church.
Right. So maybe he'll just go on another hiatus. I mean, I don't know. I like the character. He's in a very bad role, like as far as moral compass. They tend to
Kill them off.
kill them off rather quickly because they can't, be supported.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what becomes of him. I'm trying to find that article again, but I'm not having any luck. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him and some of the decisions he's made. He's got a wolf currently locked up in Alexandria.
Which is really scary. Like and they don't even know about that bad decision yet.
No.
And meanwhile, Alexandrians are, committing suicide, risking lives of everybody.
Right,
And-
turning themselves into zombies.
Right. Let's be real here, people. If you're going to do that, let's go the full go and, go for the head. What do you think about what's the new love interest with Rick? Oh, I can't remember. I can never
Jesse?
remember. Jesse. Yeah. What do you think about that?
It's been coming for a little. I mean, it's been coming since he arrived. I mean, ever since he arrived and she cut his hair for the first time. I mean, there's been something there. He's kissed her before, I think, hasn't he?
I can't remember.
Or it's been close.
It's been close. There's always been a love interest there, but I think now that the father's out of the way and she's kind of opened her eyes, like, is it Deidre? What's the mayor's name? Deanna. I thought it was Deidre.
Where's Deanna?
Where's Deanna? Deanna.
Not where's Deanna. Who's Deanna?
Who's Deanna? Deanna kind of had shaders on everybody to what the outside world was. And I think Jesse's the first one to realize what's going on and how to react. So I think she's like,
Yeah.
you know what? You were right, Rick. You were right.
But I don't know that we can totally blame it on Deanna, though, either.
I don't blame it on her. But
And her son blamed her fully for everything that's going on because she protected him. But
See,
at the same time, I think you know what's going on. You're all adults. You can go out beyond the wall and do scouting and, do things on your own too to gain intel.
You don't even need to scout to find out what's going on. They're building walls around this neighborhood. Why would you build walls just all of a sudden like, okay, why are we building walls around the neighborhood?
I mean, clearly they know they know what's out there. They just don't know how bad it is.
Right.
And what people have resorted to.
Right.
Like the people like the wolves or the termites or whatever.
Right. So I don't blame Deanna like fully for what happened because that's out of her hands. I mean, it's not her fault that the wolves came and broke down the doors and killed people and all that stuff. It's not her fault that all these zombies escaped from the plan that Rick had set out with from the quarry. That's not her fault. I mean, I think she did the right thing by trying to plant seeds of hope in this community and say, you know what, this is where we can start, trying to live a normal life in this basic hell on earth. And, I don't think that's her fault for doing any of that stuff. I would appreciate that. I mean, just because they didn't have like a military presence, that's not her fault. I mean, they had a doctor and then a psychiatrist who does not know what she's doing.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
she'll get there. And she's a love interest now for Tara, too.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, come on. Everybody's got to have somebody.
Not everybody. There's nobody for Eugene.
Oh.
Poor Eugene.
I don't know if Eugene needs anybody.
just
so
has
long as
himself.
so long as he can watch others.
Ew.
No, remember the scene
Oh,
in
yeah,
the,
that's right,
like
he
the
does.
library or whatever, and he was totally checking out Eugene and
Or Abraham.
Abraham and Rosita. Yeah, he's fine on his own.
Yeah. So I do have a bad feeling about Jesse's older son. I think he's going to try and assassinate Rick.
Son of Porch Dick.
Son of Porch Dick. I think he is going to try to assassinate Rick. Jesus, Rick. And it's going to be probably the one thing that drives a spike in between him and Jesse when he has to kill the kid. When he has to say, look at the flowers. That's gonna be. I have a really bad feeling that he's trying to learn it because I mean during the whole little speech thing that Rick was giving, like they panned around to him and he's the one sitting there playing with his knife, like, and you don't just sit there and play with your knife when you're bored. You sit there and sulk and anger and
Yeah, and he's asking for tips as far as shooting and trying to get on Rick's good side by telling him about what Carl's doing. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
trying to lower his defenses and
yeah,
we know they can't kill Rick off. Like that's not possible.
anything's possible. As soon as you say it's not possible, it happens.
They can't kill Rick off.
Would you have said in the beginning episode of Game of Thrones that they would have been able to kill Ned Stark off?
Spoilers, Jesus. No,
Did he not seem like the main character of that show when you first started watching it?
not really, because that show has like 20 main characters.
Well, you could say the same of Game of
Yeah,
Walking Dead.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I can see
At this
it.
point, yep.
I can see it. Okay.
Not that I think they will. I just saying as soon as you say
He's-
you can't do this, they'll do it.
I just think that he provides like such a almost like a imbalance in the actual series, like where like here we have small town sheriff Rick, and here we have leadership Rick, and here we have farmer Rick, and here we have crazy psycho Rick who's biting people's faces off and
seeing his dead wife.
And here we have and now we have kind of that leadership Rick roll back, and he's kind of coming back into and all of a sudden this kid's gonna try and assassinate him, is all of a sudden just gonna push him back over the edge into, well, we can't do this anymore, and
Yeah, we'll see.
so I don't know. All right, you want to talk about Once Upon a Time?
Yeah, we can. Oh goodness, let me think here. Once upon a time, a lot of interesting developments on this last week. I can't think about right now what was the week before, but this last week we did get to see who was the initial Dark One, which was pretty interesting. Spoiler alert if you watch Once Upon a Time, but Merlin's
Girlfriend,
his
future wife.
Right. She is killed at the hands of this evil person. We kind of do see some seeds of evil. Not, I wouldn't want to say evilness, but of corruption, even before she is killed, in the fact that she asked to drink from the Holy Grail.
Right.
We get to see that. Well, first of all, seeing the origin of Merlin. Even he, got his magic powers from drinking the Holy Grail,
Which then he took.
Grail. Right. But, she drinks from it when she is told that she shouldn't. She and Merlin make this pact, basically to both become mortals. He's going to melt down the Holy Grail and reforge it into Excalibur, which he does, to take away his magic. And yet she drinks from the Holy Grail anyhow. And then also, she's from a village that's been ransacked and burned to the ground and is a sole survivor. And there's a couple of times when she's talking about this that she, is talking about revenge, and at first she's talking about revenge and says, oh, well, the best revenge will be letting these flowers grow. Even though he killed off the whole city. Which is not really what I thought she was going to say. And when she's talking about revenge, I'm like, oh, she's kind of a mean person. And then she says the flowers. I'm like, oh,
right.
Okay, that's cool. That's a good, you're a good person if you think that's revenge. But then it keeps coming up in subtle little ways, and then you find out that, she does get killed, and then you find out that okay, she's resurrected due to drinking from the Holy Grail. Takes the heart and crushes it, and thus becoming the Dark One, the original Dark One.
And she smashes Excalibur.
Right, breaks Excalibur, which is what then becomes the dagger of the Dark One. So it was a very interesting origin story. It's interesting to see that Emma and really was able to fight off becoming evil when talking with her, and she had to summon her in order to get the spark to reunite the dagger and form Excalibur as a whole again. That she maintained her composure through all this and was able to stay, to not really be tainted too much, but that you had a couple other forces, Zelina and Arthur.
They definitely weren't helping.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, though, where does she turn dark? We still haven't seen that yet. What pushed her over the edge into darkness and becoming dark as she is now? We still haven't seen that happen yet. So at what point does that occur? And what is she going to do with Excalibur? I know the voices in her head, all the previous dark ones that she's seeing, are telling her, reforge it so we can snuff out the light, all the light magic and all the light in the world. Is that really what she's doing? Or has she really managed to, even though we think she's gone dark, has she managed to
control it?
To still control it, and is she working to maintain the light? Because as we've seen in the past, when she embraced the darkness, when she took, when she hurt her son, even though it was working for good eventually, really, she stopped seeing the images of the Dark One.
Right. Gold.
Right. And she's been seeing them all this while in Storybrooke. So is that because she's not fully embraced the darkness? Even though she's been using dark magic, like taking the Heart of Merida to turn Rumple into a
hero.
A hero, right.
Which that was quick. That was a quick turnaround. Good job, Merida.
Yeah. But it's an interesting... It'll be neat to see where the storyline goes. Again, that's going to be approaching its mid-season finale here soon, too, I think. And to see, when are they going to wrap up? Obviously, Emma, I don't think they can keep Emma dark forever. They're going to have to bring her back to the light side.
I want to know who's going to take over the Dark One when she's not. Because obviously someone's got to be the Dark One, right?
Well, they don't have to be. I mean, that's the whole reason for reforging Excalibur was to wipe out the darkness.
But wasn't that going to in turn kill Emma, though? Because that's what Arthur was trying to complete, was to destroy, to get Excalibur, to basically win over Camelot and take out the Dark One, which once the Prince Charming and Snow found out that what he's planning, I thought that's what the whole...
I don't know. It'll be interesting, though. There's a lot of different things going on with all the characters, really, as far as, physically and mentally. They're all kind of in different places, and you don't even know, particularly Emma, you don't really know where she stands.
Well, I mean, it's almost like and they did a good job, like, not really confusing the audience, but not giving us what information is being withheld from the other characters. Like, we have no clue what Emma did that was so wrong that she had to wipe their memories and continue. Isn't she continuing to wipe? Because she's building more.
That was in the past.
Oh, that was in the past. I always get those confused.
Yeah, in the past she was building the dream catchers to trap their memories.
Yeah.
And then she takes the memories and they return to Storybrooke, and they still don't know what occurred during like the 6 weeks in Camelot.
But it sounds like this weekend we find out, because she was talking to Hook, and she's like, "Do you really want to know what happens?" Blah blah blah. There was a preview that I saw that they were talking. She's like, "Well, if you really want to know, and it's not going to change your opinion, blah blah blah, or whatever." So yeah, I have a feeling that she's going to uncover what's going on.
Yeah, it has been an interesting season so far. And there's always been people whose memories have been lost, or there's just always
always something.
There's always something going on. It's magic and fairy tales and whatnot, but the way that the season has been developed it's been interesting. I really enjoyed it so far.
Cool. All right. Talk about some Halo 5 multiplayer for a little bit.
I still haven't even played like 6 or 7 games, if that.
Yeah. I've played quite a bit. A lot.
I've been busy with my photography and going to bed early.
So we're just gonna talk about review the multiplayer since we haven't finished the campaign yet. But so out of the box, the multiplayer that's the first thing that I jumped into. That's kind of one of the most interesting things to me. I like the campaign. I like doing the campaign with with a co-op, just because it just gives you some extra support and it's fun to play with someone else. But anyway, the multiplayer seems, first of all, is really solid. Like, very rarely have we've run into issues where the party's been separated or completely disbanded or couldn't find a game or anything like that. So it seems extremely solid. So 343, kudos to you for shipping a game that isn't broken and actually works the way it's supposed to. So first off, I guess we can talk about like character creation. So and I guess character creation and actually like character advancement. So you no longer have loadouts like in Halo 4. Thank God. We are not Call of Duty. So everyone starts with the same weapon. Usually it's the assault rifle and the pistol, which the pistol does provide some long range coverage or mid to long range coverage. But you're gonna, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna lose in a BR match, or especially a DMR match. So the loadouts are nice. It makes you control the map a little bit better. I think they did a good job with recognizing that first and foremost. So people aren't starting with these overpowered weapons, and okay, this person's got a DMR right off the rip, so now my pistol is pretty much useless. So anyway, there's no more Spartan abilities. They took those away. They've given everybody sprint, which is nice. They've given everybody a thruster pack. So
I can't figure out how to use that very well.
Well, in 6 games, I wouldn't imagine you do. But once you get the hang of it, you kind of find yourself using it a little bit more. But basically, the thruster pack allows you to, do a dash in one direction really quickly, and then it takes 3 seconds for it to recharge, and you can do it again. You can combo this with a couple different things. You can combo it with your melee, and you basically do well, I guess I know there's the dash. I guess the dash would by itself. You combo it with your jump, so you can jump and dash away, which is nice. So you can kind of do your little phase calls, just phase hopping, and then shoot, and then dodge away. The sprint, however, you can do this combo that with your melee, and you basically sprint for so long, and then you could do this Spartan dash melee thing, which I still don't understand completely why you would do it, because it's not an instant kill unless you're hitting them from behind, which normally is an instant kill if you're just meleeing them. So there's really no benefit to sprinting and then bashing them. Which I just wish the damage metric was a little bit more than a melee. So maybe, or I don't know. So so you have that. So those are your abilities. First off, you can do also with the sprint. You can slide. So if you're sprinting and you hit the crouch button, you can slide, which is nice. Not very useful. There's a couple maps that provide shortcuts that you can slide underneath, like doors and things like that, and little wedges, which is nice. There's also some shorter cover that if you're sprinting and you get shot, you can, basically dodge underneath that cover. So that's kind of like the Spartan ability. The other thing that's interesting is they didn't unlock they unlocked some of, but not all of the the logos.
Mine's never unlockable.
I'm sorry. That's one thing I will never
That
understand.
makes me so mad.
That if I was designing a game that offered that type of customization, you should include everything that's been in previous games, because that there are people out there that have used that in the past. Granted, you should be able to find something else that you like, but you shouldn't have to. Come on.
That's your identity.
It is your identity. Some people have that crap tattooed on them. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Anyway, that's kind of a bummer, but you do unlock that stuff as well as like the armor permutations and your different helmets and different stances, and you also can unlock executions. So you start out with like a standard execution. Like when you come up behind somebody, you can hold the B button down, and instead of meleeing them, you'll do this little fancy animation thing where you'll like stab them in the throat or kick their legs out and stab them in the chest as they're falling down. It's totally awesome. One of the best feelings in the world when you pull one of those off. But so like, what am I talking about? The unlocking thing. So you basically, when you the way you unlock things is you complete tasks, complete challenges like BR kills, DMR kills, kill death ratio. Just leveling up your guy will give you they call them requisition packs. Give you rec points. All these rec points add up, and once you hit a certain number, you can buy a gold, silver, or bronze pack. They each have, worth so many. I think the gold one is 10,000 rec points, and then they go down from there. So when you buy one of these packs, they give you, I think, up to two legendary pieces of equipment. So you can get a armor permutation, a helmet. You can get a weapon skin for one of your UNSC weapons. So like the BR, assault rifle, pistol, the SMG. I think that's it. I don't think the shotgun's in there. I think the DMR might be. I'm not sure. I don't know. So you can get that stuff unlocked. So over time, you'll eventually get everything unlocked, and that's where you get your different logos and things. So they've got quite a few, but they don't have all of them, which is kind of frustrating. So that's kind of like the character progression, and like unlocking things and kind of leveling your guy up. So as far as actually leveling your guy up, you've got two stats. You have the CSR and then just your regular rank. Your regular rank never goes down. This is what you are. This is how much you've played based on experience. Your CSR, which is your competitive score rating or something like that. I don't know. I think that's what it is. That's based on your performance, how you're doing, like as far as kill death ratio. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of aspects that go into it. But that will go up and down based on how well you do. So talking about so that kind of goes into the actual game modes. So each game mode has its own CSR. So your CSR is your rank for that actual mode. So you have free for all, Rumble Pit. You have Arena. What else do we have? You have Team Slayer, and I think SWAT is the other one right now. Those are the kind of and then Breakout was the other one. So those are the different playlists that you can jump into. So each one you'll have your own CSR. So what happens is you play 10 games. It'll rank you based on how your win percentage has nothing to do with, and this is kind of interesting, it has nothing to do with how well you did in the game. So if you went -50, I guess -49, and your team still won, you will still get credit for that win. It goes towards your win-loss record, and then at the end of your 10 games, they put you in bronze, silver, gold, diamond, or platinum, or onyx. And I think there's a pro rank in there at the very top of that as well. So one of those 5 or 6 levels, and then there's 6 levels for each of those. So once you get placed in let's say silver, you get silver 1. You keep playing. Every time you win, you go up. Silver 2, silver 3, silver 4, silver 5, silver 6. Win again, you go up to gold 1, and then you just keep going up that way. So one thing that 343 has done that Bungie they did different from Bungie is in their rating system, if you lost a game, you could go down. You could go down. You could go back all the way down to 1. With this one, you can go down, but you will never go down lower than what rank you're currently in. So if you get placed in silver, you'll never go lower than silver. Now, once you level up to gold, you'll never go lower than gold, which is nice. It basically prevents people from going in and saying, okay, well, I'm at gold and I can't get any higher, so this is becoming not fun. So I'm going to de-level all the way down to bronze and start going all the way back up again. So you don't get, those people like in Halo 2, that was the worst feeling where like in the pregame lobby they would say, "Okay guys, I'm sorry, but we're de-leveling." And like if you're in a party of 2 in a SWAT match or whatever, you're like, "Well, that's great. So you're not going to do anything. Why don't you just quit out and let us try and win this or whatever?" And of course, 2-on-4 SWAT's never good, right? That's not fun. So they kind of fixed that, like pseudo fixed that, which is nice. What else is going on? So that's kind of like the ranking system. I feel like it's a much better ranking system. You don't think so?
No.
No, you just want your number.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about maps.
I don't know the maps.
Some of the maps are really good. I got them listed here because I don't know the names just yet. The only one I do know is Plaza. By far my favorite one. That's like the green shopping mall plaza. Like you're on the street, like, and it's very vertical, and like it reminds me of
Turf.
yeah. There you go. It reminds me a lot of Turf. Not like I guess in a way the way Turf played. Turf was very like triangle, square shaped. Where you could you had long sight lines, and it was very
Triangle square shape.
well like. There was a like triangle, meaning like there was a cut through. There was a cut through in the middle of the square. Like you could go from like
Gotcha.
from the garage over to the med tent, and you would have to go nowhere near the scarab. You could cut through. It wasn't as vertical because they weren't really like there really wasn't that type of movement in Halo 2, but you had like you had 2 levels and that's it. This one you have like, God, I don't know how many, which thanks to the clamor ability, which is one I forgot to talk about. That's super awesome. Being able to climb up on ledges and like that is probably one of the greatest things that Halo has done yet. I'm glad they didn't go as far as like wall running like with Titanfall, because that would just be like because then they had to design maps to meet those needs of wall climbing and wall running, and that's just annoying. Like what they've added, perfect. Don't change it. Let's see here. So other maps, which let's see here. So we've got Alpine Pet, which is basically a Forge map, which they haven't given us Forge yet, but they're calling it a Forge canvas, which has got Pegasus and Orin on it, which to me, like, if this is what we're gonna be playing with as far as Forge, like it's got the same problem that Halo 3 had with Forge, and I think in Halo 2. No, it was just Halo 3 that had Forge. Halo 3 Forge. The problem with Forge was every map looked identical. Like there was no like you couldn't change like the textures. You could change the lights kind of, but that would slow the game down and the performance of the game would suffer. But at the end of the day, they just felt really blah. And the 2 that they've made are just I'm just not a really big fan of them. I'm really not. Now the other ones that they've created, let's see here. We have Coliseum, which is super fun. Awesome capture flag map. You've got 2 bases on either side. You've got sniper spawn, which goes up a hill a little bit, and it's kind of got like its little perch. And then like on the right side, it dips down and then it spikes way up high, and rockets spawn up there. So you got a huge perch, multi-level, very very well designed map. Let's see here. Eden, which is okay. Eden Empire kind of feel the same. They're kind of like the industrial type looking, like under. I think some of them are. Eden, I think Eden's the one that's underwater that has like the giant squid whale thing flying, like swimming around it. It's got the 2 bases, and then there's a giant bridge that goes across the gap between the 2. So usually the fight ends up in those 2 tunnels leading, or the 2 ramps going up there is where the fight usually ends up. And then whoever can control the top usually wins the game. So that's that. Let's see here. I have not played on Glacier yet. That looks like a Forge canvas. So it looks like they've got a couple different Forge canvases that are coming, or are not coming, but are out. Regret is, let's see here. Regret is the kind of fake looking midship level. which kind of it's an interesting. It's got some interesting sight lines. It offer the centerpiece is a little bit plays a little bit different role than midship did. Midship, you'd have very little to do with people running across the center. With this one, there's a lot of cover up there, so you see people in a lot of ways to get up there, not just through the two sides. So it provides a lot more cover. It gives you some extra places to kind of like catch people off guard or help team shoot. So you see a lot of people up there. Usually one person posted up there. The rig, this one. I think this one is probably my least favorite of the bunch of like the non-forge maps. I just feel like it's really hard to team shoot on this one, especially with 4-on-4. It's very difficult unless you stick to the outside. I think they call it yellow corner, over where a carbine spawns. You can usually, if you got someone standing, a couple of people standing on that side along with the catwalks, and then over on the plasma caster, if you kind of control that corner of the map, you're pretty solid. Which is good because in the strongholds game type, that's where two of the strongholds are, so it's easier to control that corner of the map. And then Truth is our remake of Midship, which is it's not exactly the same. It's a little bit wider. It seems like they kind of letterboxed the whole thing and stretched it out, which isn't too bad. Have people bumping into each other. Grenades aren't as prominent, aren't as like a overpowered weapon on it now, since everything's kind of spaced out a little bit. You got a little bit more room to move, and that like kind of leads me into the other thing with the thruster pack. The thruster pack gives you an opportunity to dodge those grenades. So I think the grenade has been nerfed down quite a bit without losing its actual damage capabilities. So a lot of the maps seem a little bit stretchy and wider, so the splash damage isn't as prevalent as in the past. And then you have so those are like the basic maps, and then you have so they have this thing called Breakout Arena, and this is kind of like they almost played it off like this is like Spartan training type thing, where you have one life, 4v4, and all these maps kind of have like this very Tron feel to them. Like the ground is very computer, it's got a grid on it, and nothing feels like, it feels like it's been computer generated. Like, what's the thing from Futurama called?
The holodeck?
Yeah, the holodeck. It feels like you're on a holodeck. That's very good. Nice job.
Trek.
Nice job.
The Star Trek got a holodeck too.
Screw Star Trek. Sorry. So I don't know. I mean, this game type is one of those things where if you don't have a party of 3 or 4, it's very, very difficult. I'm not seeing a lot of people communicating outside of my circle of clan members. I did find a few people at launch that were communicating, so obviously, we did much better. But when you go in by yourself, like if you don't have a group that's using their microphones, it's very difficult to be successful. So they did add an alternate win condition in this game, which is nice. There's a central flag, and if you can get that flag from the center of the map to their base, you win the match, which has actually proved to be pretty difficult. But when you're down 1-3, you can pick that up and sometimes get to it's easier to get that flag to their base versus trying to kill 3 of them. The other caveat to this game mode is there's no radar and you have no shield. So basically, I think it's 3 shots from the pistol or 2 shots from the pistol and you're dead. Yeah. So basically pistols, sometimes you'll spawn with SMG. And there's BRs, shotguns, and battle rifles on the map. And then there's some type of Hydra rocket launcher thing. So overall, I think what you get in this game is awesome as far as multiplayer. I haven't even talked about Warzone. I played exactly 1 game of Warzone, and I've won exactly 1 game of Warzone. This is like their big team 12-on-12 game. Where they've got NPCs in there, and you basically have to capture 3 3 points or whatever to uncover the enemy's core, and once you can destroy their core to win the match. You can get kills to win the match, or you can kill AI bosses to win the match. To me, it seemed I was never a fan of big team battle. We had a group of 3 people when we played it, which isn't a lot. Now, if you had a group of 8 or more, then this is definitely the game type to play. If you had 8 people playing, because obviously you can't play arena, or I guess you could play custom games, which would be fun. But if you're looking for a bigger team, like this is definitely what you're looking for. It's got the banshees and the mantises and the warthogs. It's got all of that stuff, and they're all huge maps. So it's one of those things where there's literally something there for everybody. So, and that's just the multiplayer. So overall, I would compare this to Halo 2. Oh, it's very, very, very close. And then, again, it might even be better than Halo 2 in my opinion, because my memory of Halo 2 might be what's the word? Might be inflated a little bit, I guess, just because of how awesome it was at the time to be able to connect to Xbox Live and voice chat with your friends and play split screen and all that stuff. So I think this might actually be better. The graphics, the sound, the gameplay. Just don't have that damn symbol that you want, huh? And you will just hate this game forever because of that, right?
Yep.
Damn. All right. Well, anyway, maybe we'll talk about campaign later, next episode. I know we keep saying that. We have to finish the campaign because I want to buy Fallout 4. And I am not buying Fallout 4 until we get done with this campaign, because once that
I've got 1,200 photos to go through, and you insist on podcasting.
I know.
So something's got to give.
I guess it's sleep.
No, that is not the thing that gives.
I guess it's work.
Neither is that.
I guess we got to stop eating. Something's got to give. Anyway, all right, guys. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? No. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. This was episode 179. You can watch us every Wednesday at 8 o'clock on twitch.tv/BC podcast. Head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/72DPI online. Hit the subscribe button. We would appreciate it. And leave a comment, or you can check out all of our past episodes. Or actually, you can check out all of our clans' podcasts are up there. We got Mana Drained up there, which is Magic Vice and I's Magic the Gathering podcast, where we talk Magic every other Tuesday. And yeah, all sorts of good stuff. So we will be back next Wednesday. Maybe with some Fallout 4 action. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.